Everybody? Welcome back to Average Joe Stock Trading. So, what we're going to do today is talk about what's been going on for the past week or two, ever since really we just got this thing going. No, we had a couple good days right there out the gate when we caught that big dip and decided to get in a lot of stuff. And things have kind of been going south since then. Um, but that's okay. That's why we prepare for stuff like that. That's why we set our whole portfolio up for things that could happen like this. The market doesn't always just go up, and there's going to be times to where you're gonna be losing money, and that's just part of the game. If you can't handle losing money, then you're playing the wrong game, and you're not going to be successful. If every time that you buy a stock and it goes down 10 or 15% and you get scared and you sell, you're never going to make any money in this business. It takes losing money to make money. And not every time you click buy is it going to start just shooting straight up. It's going to have corrections like this, especially whenever you see stocks go on 2 or 3 month runs, and the whole market was doing extremely well. These things just happen. Like I said, that's why we keep money to the side. Just think, it's not that you bought the wrong stock. It's not like we made bad buys. It's a whole market that is doing bad. It's not just individual stocks. So just say the stocks that you're in. Say that you're in stocks that you didn't follow us in. You're not in AMBL. You're not in CTRM. All the stocks that I am in. Where are you going to go? If you were in other stocks besides the ones that we have recommended, or if you're in other ones, it doesn't matter. Where are you going to go? Look at the market. I mean, we can turn on every watch list that I have, and we can just scroll down it. We can just scroll down every watch list that I have. Where are you going to hide? Either you're investing and losing money right now, or you're not investing. You're not in the game. So we can just keep on scrolling. It's just bloody. Now, oil and stuff is doing okay because, of course, oil prices are skyrocketing, but it's very minimal. Of course, minimal gains is better than what we have been going through lately, but we just keep on scrolling. It's bloody. It's bloody everywhere. So it's not that you're making a bad investment. It's just a bad time for the market right now. So if you are buying these dips and you left money to the side, that's great. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. That's what we set ourselves up for. And a lot of people don't know exactly what to do whenever it's called buy the dip. The way that I personally go about it is whenever my stock has fallen 20, 30, 40%, depending on which stock it is when I'll start buying the dip. Usually I'll only buy one time and let it do its thing. If it keeps going down, well, that sucks, but we'll wait for it to come back up. But whenever the price gets to what when I originally bought it at. So let's say I bought a stock at $2 and it dropped to $1.40 and we bought the dip. So if we bought at $1.40, whenever it gets to $2, I'm selling that dip. I'm selling what I bought at $1.40 at $2 because that's my original investment. And now you made that gain from $1.40 to $2 that you really wouldn't have. You'd have just been getting your money back. So now from $1.40 to $2, you're making that profit of what you bought the dip at. The reason I sell at the original investment number is because it could easily come back down. So say the dip went to 140, you bought the dip and now it goes to $2, you sell that dip and now all of a sudden it could come all the way back down to 140 again. So you do the exact same thing. You would go ahead and you would buy that dip again and then sell when it gets to $2. There's been many stocks that I've been involved in that I have done this 5 or 6 times. Genus to be one of them. I got in Genus at around $1.50. It would drop to $1, and I'd buy more. It'd get up to $1.50. I'd sell. It would get back to $1, down to $1, and I would do it over and over and over again. And that's how you make money whenever the market isn't doing very well. These stocks are going to go up and down, and you're not going to make a lot of money most of the time throughout the year. But that's why we set up for the way we have our portfolio set up. So it could happen over and over again, and it's okay because we're making small gains along the way before we get to that big push. We're gonna buy the dip, sell it, buy the dip, sell it, and then when it starts getting past, eventually, it's gonna run past that original investment number, and that's whenever we start a whole nother ball game. That's whenever we'll start letting it run, and then after it gets to a specific number, then we'll sell some and bring that number down. So that way we have more money to invest in different areas. Of course, the market has to start running for that to happen, and eventually it will. You just can't be scared on days like today and panic sell because that is what makes you lose money. So say you woke up this morning and CTRM was down already 10%, and you sold it right away. You saved that 8% that it ended up falling more today. But say that you get in it tomorrow when all of a sudden it starts running. Tomorrow morning you wake up and it's up 10%, and you buy back in, and then all of a sudden what is a gain of 10% for the day falls back down. That CTRM loses that whole 10% gain from the morning, and now you've bought back in and you've lost 10% again, and now you get scared and you sell again. So that's how you go broke in the stock market. If you are going to continually buy and sell in the same position out of the same stock, all of a sudden now that you've lost 15% on one transaction, 10% on another, 8% on another, 10% on another. So instead of just holding like we are and just losing 18%, now you're down 30% because you're trying to get in and out and miss the swings and get back in at a better number, which is all good, but it's so hard to time the market. The market it's unpredictable, and it is an absolute shot in the dark whenever you talk about trying to time the market. Now, there are times where we can see these things coming. I have throughout the year and a couple months that I've been in the stock market, I have timed a couple of these massive sell-offs that have happened, and I have sold my whole portfolio, and I've missed these dips a couple times, which saves your portfolio an extremely amount of money. But you can't see these things coming all the time. Is that baby girl screaming? You can't see these things coming all the time. It just happens, and sometimes it happens out of nowhere for no reason. Not exactly sure what fueled this massive sell-off today or whatever it was. I really didn't do research to see what it was, but there was definitely some negativity in the market today, and it was definitely a bad news. But we're prepared for stuff like this. We have money set aside to buy the dips. That is why we don't put 100% of our portfolio, our money out there at one time. We don't buy in for 100% and just say do what you do, because then things like this happen. Uh, you put 100% of your money into all these stocks. You buy 2 stocks, 3 stocks, 5 stocks, whatever it is, and now the market goes down, and so now you're stuck just holding and waiting for the market to get back to the number that you were originally invested in, to decide if you want to keep that stock, or do you want to keep going, or do you want to sell and move on to a different position. Now, some people do like see days like today and like, do fuck it, I'm just gonna sell everything. Well, tomorrow could be a completely different day. Tomorrow all these numbers could come skyrocketing right back up to where they were, because obviously these companies aren't going down because of negative news on that specific company. It's going down because of a market crash through the whole market. It's not that we have bad companies. It's just a bad time for the whole market individual. How much do you buy of the dip? So you have 1,000 shares. Do you buy 500 shares on a dip or 1,000 on the dip? It all depends on how much money you have available. Me personally, I usually buy 50% of what I'm originally invested into the stock. So, like you said, if you started out with 1,000 shares and you were ready to buy the dip, I would buy 500 shares. And if you weren't here whenever I stated that, whenever the stock got back to your original investment, that's when I would sell the dip that I bought. That way, if it turns around and goes the other way, well, now you've made that gain on that dip, and now you still have money to buy if it dips again. And like I said, you can do this over and over and over again. It happens. These stocks are going to come back tomorrow. You're going to see tomorrow, the next day, next week, whatever it is, you're going to see these stocks coming back up 10, 15% gains, and it's going to slowly eke its way back up. So, and you don't even have to wait until it gets back to your original investment number. That's just what I do, because it gives you more of your gain from when you bought the dip. But some people are like, well, it might not get back to that soon enough, and I want to free that money up to go invest it somewhere else or buy a dip somewhere else, which is okay, as long as you're making profitable transactions. As long as your transaction is profitable, and you bought it, say you bought it at $2, you bought the dip at $1.50, it gets back to $1.75. That is a positive transaction. Whether you wait till $1.75 or $2 to sell that dip, it doesn't matter. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. But as long as you're making positive transactions, don't constantly go and say, it's down 20%. I'm just going to sell so I don't lose no more. You're not playing the game the way it's supposed to be played. You're going to constantly move around from stock to stock to stock, and you have small losses here, small losses here, small losses here, and then all of a sudden 50% of your portfolio is gone, and you're sitting there still not invested in anything because you're getting in and out, in and out. It's not going to work that way. If you're invested into a stock right now, it's because, I hope it's because you believe in that stock. You think that stock is going to go up. You think that stock is going to be, that company is doing good for itself, or you thought that stock had momentum. Whatever it was that made you buy that stock, obviously you believed in that stock. So just because it dropped 20 to 25% doesn't mean it's a bad stock. All it means is that it's a rough time in the market right now, and it's not all roses, man. I've said this in the chat before on the Facebook page. I went through a big span of a constant downfall. I think it was around July, June, September, August, somewhere around there. To I just constantly it was my portfolio was going 5%, 10%, 8%, just constantly over and over and over again. And and I believed in what I was doing, and I believed in the system that I have been following since I started in the stock market. Um, it took me a while to get the system going because obviously I didn't know what I was doing. You start doing a little research here, and even the big time traders, not everybody does. Not a lot of people do it the way that I do it. Um, it's just it's the way that feels right for me. It's the way that feels most profitable to me in the long run. I stopped trying to fade the swings because it's so much. It's when you sell everything, it's so hard to find another entry level. It's so hard to say, okay, is this a better time to get back in because I sold over here? That's why I decided to say I'm not going to try to fade the dips. I'm just going to buy the dips. And that's whenever I decided, hey, whenever I start investing, I'm only going to be investing 75 to 80% of the total money that I have that I'm ready to put in the market. Now, I have margin, and that's what I buy the dip with margin. And that way I don't have to pay the percentage that they want. My margin isn't being held for too long. Usually it it doesn't sit in there very long. So if you bought the dip, say you bought the dip on CTRM today, and you're originally invested at $1, and it's currently sitting at 76 cents. Well, yes, I would definitely consider that a dip. I would definitely buy 50% of what I originally invested, and if it goes lower, it goes lower. Then I would just hold. And sometimes it does. Sometimes I have to wait to sell that dip that I bought, and it doesn't always get back to $1 in a week or two. But that's the plan. And whenever it does get to $1 and we sell it, hey, that's a positive transaction. And that's just what I want to stress the most. Positive transactions will get you to where you want to go. The stock market is not for the weak. It is not for the weak. It is not for the people that if you think that you're going to wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden your portfolio is going to be 20 times what it was. It just doesn't happen like that. Uh, Sometimes we're blessed and we get into stocks that take off overnight or take off in the first week or two. And the last couple months that has happened. But it is very, very rare. It is very rare. Since all the stocks that I've been involved in, it takes months and months to get your first double. Ideally, what we're looking for is to buy into a stock at whatever it is. Whether you buy it at if you buy it for $500, $1,000, $5,000, whatever it is. We're trying to get 100% gain on whatever it is. So if you buy into a stock for $500 and it gets to 1,000, what I would do is I would sell $500 worth. I would take my original investment back and I would let that $500 run for as long as you want to. Usually, what I do is I wait. If I would let that get to 4 to 5 times its money, and then I would probably be done with the stock. Uh, I'm happy with a 5 to 600% gain, and I would take my money and I would go on to the next stock. And that's the ideal goal, is to get your first double. That's what we want. We want our investment to get to double, and then I take my money out. I do it the same way over and over and over again. And it kind of works the same most of the time works the same way as whenever you bought the dip. So whenever the stock got to double what we invested. So say you bought a stock for $2, it got to $4, and you sold half of your shares. And now that $4 trickles back down to $2. Well, now I would make that 500 sitting at 250 now. Now I would make that 250 look like 500. And you continue doing little things like this. You add to your position. You take away from your position. You add to your position. And those little knick-knack things are going to turn into a positive stock market trader. That's what's going to get you over the hump. You're never going to get there by sitting there and say, throw your money in and never do anything with it. Just wait for it to go up and down, up and down. You could be in it for years and still only have 50% gains. Now, when you start talking about buying the dip and selling whenever it gets back to your original number, and selling when it gets to 100% gains, and then buying when it dips, when you start doing those things, you're talking about making so much more money than just buying a stock and just letting it sit in there and do nothing. It's just going to go up and down, and your portfolio is going to fluctuate, and you're never going to get to where you want to go. Now, that's not to say that you're going to buy a stock and it's not going to go up 200 or 300% and you're going to be happy. Sure, that happens. That happens all the time. But just imagine how much more money you could make if you bought the dip and then you sold when it got there, and you did that over and over again. So with the stock market doing what it did today and what it's been doing over the past week, sure, it sucks. But the people that take advantage of the system that I'm setting up for them, the dip in the market is a good thing. It's a good thing because it gives you an opportunity to make so much more money than the money that you could have made if it just started running as soon as you invested in it. I don't get upset on days like today because I look at it as a business opportunity. I look at it as a time to make more money when the stock goes up. So even though we made a bad, let's just call it a bad entry level, and that's on me. I said that the stock, CTRM for instance, it was at $1, and I'm screaming buy because I think CTRM is a great stock. I couldn't say buy enough of it because it was at $1, and I see it going to $2.50, $3 easy. Now, just because it drops to 76 cents doesn't mean that changes my outlook on CTRM. My outlook on CTRM now is, wow, that's great. I was crazy about this stock at $1. Now that it's at 76 cents, I'm even more crazy about it because I'm going to buy more. Now, instead of me only making that money from $1 up, now I'm making that money from 76 cents all the way to $1 because that's where I'm going to sell my dip at. But if it didn't drop to 76 cents, I would never have that opportunity to make my gains from 76 cents to $1. I would have never had that opportunity to buy that dip. So I don't get too crazy emotionally wrapped up on a bad day like this because in my mind, all it is dollar signs. It says, okay, well, this is a great opportunity to make more money. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean that CTRM can't drop to 50 cents. Would I buy more of CTRM if it dropped to 50 cents? I don't know. I would have to reevaluate what's going on at that time, how much money I had to throw at it. Because once you start buying these dips, now you're going to be close to 100% of your money being tied up. Sometimes when that happens, whenever I buy the dip and now 100% of my money is locked up, sometimes I would think about maybe depositing a little more into my account just in case it dipped a little more if I found something that I wanted to play with. But that's why the money in the stock market is work money. It's not, the money in the stock market isn't money to pay next month bills. It's not paying for groceries. It's not paying for my cell phone. It's not paying for my house note. It's not paying for any of that. This money is for work. It is to sit there, and that money is to make money, no matter how long that takes. That could take 6 months to a year. I don't know. And that's just how it has to be. You can't be playing with money that you're going to need next month, because the money that you put in might not be there. This dip that that I'm buying today could go even further down, and that's just part of the game. That's just part of the game, and we know that going in. Fallen Spartan, what's up, man? Sorry I'm late. It's all good. So that's what I'm trying to get across, is that just because we're losing money right now doesn't mean the system isn't working. I think that the system is working more in our favor because, like I said, it gives us the opportunity to make money that wasn't there at the beginning. Not a lot of people look at it like that. I know a lot of people are going to look at it and say, oh, well, I bought this stock at $1. Now it's sitting at 76 cents. Should I sell it? Well, that's totally up to you. If you think the stock's going to continue going down, then yeah, I would probably sell it. But tell me why CTRM dropped 19% today. CTRM dropped 19% today because a couple things. Maybe because it went from 34 cents all the way up to $1.20 in the past month. That could have one thing to do with it. It most likely dropped today because of a market sell-off and a huge dip in the market. And when the market starts going down, people just start panic selling, and so they'll just sell, and of course that's going to make the stock go down even more. But did CTRM go down 20% today because they're a bad company? No. Did they go down today because they did something wrong with their financials? No. Only reason CTRM went down 19% today is because of a bad day in the market. A bad day in the market combined with scary traders that sold their positions because it started to go down. So I am still a firm believer in CTRM. I am going to be holding. I did buy the dip today at 75 cents whenever the market closed. And that's the way I think that if you follow, and it doesn't have to do with just CTRM, any stock that you're in, whatever stock that you're in, you follow the same process. You follow along with the same process. You buy the dips and you sell, and you keep on doing the same thing. Eventually, you will have a positive portfolio. I'll be there in a minute. So it doesn't matter what stock you're in, what stock you're following, whatever. The system works the same way no matter what. Whether you buy the dip at 20%, 30%, or 40%, it doesn't matter. You just have to. Some people, whenever they buy the dip, they don't ever sell. They're like, "Oh, okay, well, that makes me more money on the way up," which is fine. That's fine too. But me personally, I like to sell what I bought at my original investment number because that's what I wanted to invest with in the first place. So let's just say I bought $1,000 into a stock. I lost 50%. It got to 500. I added 250 of that. Now all of a sudden, when it gets back to my original investment number, now I have 1,500 invested in that number. Well, when I originally invested into that stock, I didn't want to invest 1,500. I only wanted to invest 1,000. So why not take that 500 off? Now you're back to your original investment number, and now you pocketed $250 on that stock, and you're back to your original investment number. So that's just the way I look at it. Not saying that's the right way to look at it, but I do things a lot different than your average person that's in there. It might not be the right way to look at it, but that's why we are called Average Joe. We are an average Joe in the stock market trying to make the best decisions that we can to be as profitable as we can. Um, I always say it, man. You can't go broke taking a profit, whether it's 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever it is. So if you bought that dip and you made 15%, hey, that's 15% you didn't have before that. Um, I, I can't preach it enough to don't panic sell. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen over and over and over again. It could take months to climb out of this hole that's been dug for us the past 2 weeks, but we are ready for that. We're ready to hold our positions. We're ready to go long if we need to, and sometimes that's not necessarily what it was set up to be. There's some stocks that we want to go short on, and we don't want to hold them for a long period of time. But they don't happen to move super fast whenever we get into them. So sometimes that turns into a long hold. Um, some stocks you don't want to hold all the way until it gets to 100% gain, because sometimes it might not make it there. If you catch a stock and you're sitting there paying attention to it, and it constantly runs up from your original investment, and it goes, you're gaining in between 50% to 20%, and it's fluctuating back and forth. Well, then you might want to time that to where you say, hey, next time it gets to 50%, sell your entire position and wait for it to come back down. Now, that's happened to me where I've done that and I've sold my entire position, and the stock just kept on going, and you never found a chance to get back in because it never came back down to that 20%. So that's kind of what I talk about of timing the market. It's hard to do, but it's happened. It has to be done. I'm not afraid of missing out on those big gains that could happen after I sell, because I made my profit. Whether that was 50%, 100%, 200%, whatever it was, it doesn't matter to me because I made money on that trade. I've talked to a bunch of people that have said, oh, well, you missed out on all that money. You sold at $5. Now that stock's sitting at $10. That's true. I did miss out on that money, but I was happy with the amount of money that I made on that stock, and I was ready to part ways with that stock and go try to find something else to put my money in. So you can't always look at it that way. And I know people that would sell, and then they start seeing that stock go, and they're like, oh my God, I can't miss out on it. I have to buy. And now they bought 40% higher than what they sold it at, and here comes that stock comes trickling back down right after you buy it. And I promise you, it will happen more often than not that if you are scared of missing out on gains and you buy a stock that starts to run, it won't run. It won't keep running. Everything that goes up must come down. And that is extremely true with the stock market. It happens all day, every day. So that's kind of what that's where I'm at with that. I don't try to time the market anymore. I just play the system, and the system works. I've played it over and over and over again. Sometimes you get stuck into the system, takes a little longer to work itself out. We're only 2 weeks in, and we're already buying dips. It's not exactly how it was planned, but like I said, I don't mind it. I like to see dips, and because it's more profitable for my system. With my system, the dips are very profitable, and it's going to happen again. Hopefully, we see this 75 cents on CTRM work its way back up to $1 in the next couple days, weeks, whatever it is. and we sell what we reinvested, and we let our original investment work its way up and do its thing. Fallen Spartan, I appreciate that, man. Thanks for tuning in. Um, that's where we're at, and hopefully this dip doesn't continue to go down, because I don't want people to get scared and be like, "Oh, well, I'm out. I don't want to. I don't want no more part of the market, because all I'm doing is losing money." You are gonna lose money in the market, and that is gonna happen. You just have to buckle your seatbelt and be a big boy or a big girl, and get ready for the long ride, because it is a long ride indeed. And whenever you're losing money, the ride seems like it's never going to go back up. But it will. It will go back up. It just, you just never know when it's going to happen. So let's see what Megan Latour has to say. I couldn't send this before creating an account, but I wanted to comment on your getting out when you hit your number. My dad always told me pigs get fed and hogs get slaughtered. I wish I had sold a couple weeks ago. Oh well, I'm holding on. Yeah, I don't know exactly what position you're talking about, but yeah, if you would have sold a couple weeks ago and waited to get and saw that this was coming, yeah, hey, that's the ideal situation. But it doesn't happen a lot. What current stocks do you currently hold, Megan? And Scotty says your average price goes down when you buy dips, so when it comes back up, you profit at a lot lower price on the way back up. Yes, it does. So if it does bring your average cost down, which something that I don't pay too much attention to, because really what I pay attention to is the dollar amount, because that's what concentrates on the percentage for the day. So let's just say you had $1,000 and you lost 20%. This thing went down 20%. So you lost $200 for the day. Or if it went up 20%, you gained $200 for the day. So that's the way that I look at it, because so I don't pay too much attention to the price that I paid for the stock, or the average price that I paid for the stock. But it's the same thing. It all equates to the same thing. All of it, yeah. Yeah, all of it. Yeah, everything is going down. Like I said, there was nowhere to hide in the market. If you were in the market for the past couple of weeks, you lost money, and that's just the way it is. Some industries wouldn't have lost as much as others, but there was nowhere to hide. It was bloody everywhere, and everybody got hurt today. Some got hurt more than others, but it's just what the game is all about. And hopefully, moving forward, we can sell our dip that we bought and work our way back up and make keep growing our portfolio. That's the ultimate goal, is to buy and sell, and to get to where we want to be. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. Let's see. My dad has me in some Tesla, but bought at the higher end. I went to wait and hit a certain profit, and I should have freaking sold. Yeah. Ripper got a hold of my portfolio. Yeah, Jack the Ripper done fucked a lot of people up today, man. Like, I had to get to 1.02 on CTRM, but I bought the dip, so now I'm looking at 0.90 to break even instead of 0.102. Yes, that is true. So that's a good example, Brandon. So he bought at 1.02. Now that the stock is at 75 cents and he bought that dip, he brought his average down to 90 cents. So that dip that he bought, he can sell at 90 cents instead of 1.02 to break even and have his original investment start working from there. So yes, Brandon, that was a great example about it bringing your average cost down, because I usually wait until I get to the number that I bought it at. So actually, I've been making a little bit more along the way for waiting for that number. But that's a great example, Brandon. That does bring your average cost down, so you don't have to wait for it to get to a certain number, that original investment number, to sell that dip and become profitable and have your original investment working for you. Thank you for pointing that out, Brandon. That was a great point. Um, Anybody else got any questions before we jump off of here? And if anybody needs advice on if they don't fully understand the system that I'm talking about, feel free to reach out to me anyway. If you have my phone number, you can text me. You can put it questions in the group chat. I'm always checking the group chat on Facebook. Or you can send me a direct message through Facebook Messenger. If you're not fully understanding what I'm talking about following the system, buying the dip, selling the dip when it gets to a certain number, or selling half of your position when it gets to 100% gains and waiting to see what happens from there. That's all part of the system. And if you have any questions about anything that I've talked about today, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm here to help anybody that needs help in the stock market. Um, I'm not the best in the game, but I promise you I'm probably not the worst. I could lead you in the right direction and get you going to where you want to go. Um, that's going to be it for this evening. Please, anybody, if y'all have friends, family, anybody that's looking to get in the stock market or follow Average Joe Stock Trading, please invite them to the group. Let's grow this group and get it to where we want to be. If anybody has any questions, please let me know, and y'all have a great evening. Bye-bye.